Welcome back. We are joined today by my friend Ron Atwood, one of Santa Barbara's top experts in the field of African art. And now he's going to tell us about how African art is bought and sold, including the world of high-end art auctions. Before we get into the topic of auctions, can you tell us more about Atwood African Masterworks?
I can. It is a private art dealership that I now operate. I used to do shows, New York, Santa Fe, Los Angeles, and so forth. But now I deal just privately, have a few exclusive clients, and I'm looking forward to getting a few more. And we're going to be seeing some of the things that have been sold at auction and what kind of prices can be anticipated for different levels of African art.
Wonderful. So, now we are at that point. So tell us, what is the world of African auctions look like?
It looks in many ways like so much of the rest of the world art at auction market. Sadly, instead of coming from the heart, and now I'm going to be personal in my opinion, many people have gotten into the art world as an investment. Banks lend money on particular famous pieces and artists. The market, in effect, has gone crazy. Some of that craziness is also affecting the world of African art. We are seeing things escalate in price. For example, let's take a similar mask to the Punu, which I showed earlier. And here is a Sotheby's auction of a black-faced Punu. They're quite rare. That piece sold for over $1 million. Okay, there it is. Sotheby's and Christie's really lead the auction world at the high end. That's where the blue chip players play and like to vie against one another, almost being proud of escalating the price into crazy stratospheric levels. You don't have to fall prey to that kind of investment thinking. What you ought to be doing in African art or any art, including your own home and how you decorate it, is coming from what you love personally. And by doing so, and not demanding that you're buying a piece that was from a famous person, like Helena Rubinstein, or Tristan Tzara, who had a Punu mask. How about buying one that has not been discovered yet? Now that's a step ahead. So I'm giving you what I really consider are proper expert tips. Don't always go for the celebrated, because you're going to pay for the celebrity. You're going to be buying the who as much as the what. You want to buy something, hopefully, that is what for you, that stimulates you, gets your adrenaline going. How about authenticating? That's something very important. So I brought two of the last pieces in this segment of the show to show you how we authenticate early African art, what we might look for. And these are the two, side by side. What you are seeing are, first, a Hemba piece from, thanks Michael, if you could slide that one toward me, that'd be great. Let's look at the big one, the one that is complete. You can see that this one has been eaten away. It turns out it's been eaten away by termites underneath. These were placed on the ground. This is a statue of an important chief, a king, if you will, with a special hairdo.
Oh, there you go.
There it is on the back. And there you see this cross-shaped hairdo, which is emblematic of the Hemba people. Okay? It's classic again, folks. This is art that follows certain traditions and you expect certain forms. That's one of them, the cross hairdo. This is a complete body with a little cloth around the bottom. But look at what happened on the bottom of the piece.
Oh, wow. The termites ate that?
It's eaten away, begun already to be eaten by termites that go up from the center of the wood all the way to the top. What survives, if you're lucky, is still the head. What's the difference in buying a fragment and buying a whole sculpture? There's a difference in value. That's what I'm pointing out. But not to be put off by the fact that one of them has been eaten away, like a piece you got from me, Michael.
Oh, it's my favorite African art.
A piece you got from me that's a fragment It didn't put you off because you liked the antiquity, which was right there in the fact that it had been eaten away a bit from age. And that's what we have here. So what's the difference, you might say, in pricing? A fragment like this could go for around $3,000. That's, again, modest, with a beautiful, beautiful head. It's got the dignity that one's got.
It's beautiful.
And in many ways, it's quite lovely. So don't be put off by fragments, would be my advice. And finally, if you want to step into a whole figure, what's going on here also in terms of authentication, and this is what people often don't anticipate. Europeans tended to like things that were smooth and black and polished, and the dealers slicked them up. They waxed them. You don't have to do that. In fact, it may be a detriment because you're really interfering with what went on. It's not proper conservation. You're decking it out for a buyer. You're schnookering them in many ways. You're making it more beautiful for their eyes.
True.
But the original like this, which is what has been untouched here, will turn off some European buyers because it's not been interfered with. Nobody polished this piece. And it was actually sacrificially anointed for magical purposes. That's why you see the white kale and clay that we saw on the Punu mask, which has a spiritual value. Here you see remnants of it, and it's encrusted. It's literally crusted up, and it's even got some oil kind down, oozing down. That's all part of the original patina. And if you really know your African art, that's what you're going to go for, that kind of authentication. But yes, it takes a long time of exposure. A piece like this, sell for anywhere from $25,000 to $35,000. Yes, more than a fragment.
What a complete piece.
Almost 10 times more. But now you see how we authenticate and what we in fact can embrace without fear. It's not as if African art isn't approachable. It's approachable. And I hope I can help people with that.
Wonderful. Ron, it's always a pleasure having you here. Thank you so much for lending your expertise to our show, and we look forward to having you back.